have questions. I have so many questions about season 4, and I know there's so little time. I want to get right into going back to Sabine, because what we saw in season 3 was great. What can we see, or what can you tell us about that story arc in season 4 this early on?
Who is this question for?
Either of you.
I don't know if I should answer. I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
About season 4?
Yeah.
We could roll the dice and see what you say.
Nice knowing you. Plan. I'm pretty sure they are.
You've been well trained for this. Just go ahead. You got this.
What I think I can say is that for any of you, if there are any Mandalorian fans out there, I think you will be happy with some specific episodes in this upcoming season. And I think you might be surprised, oh gosh, I don't know, I think you might be surprised where we end up, like, you know, and who we're going, I'm very scared right now.
Oh, this is great.
Like, who might show up. It's a lot easier because I feel like I'll get in trouble later, but he's like, I
just
feel
between us, this isn't going to go anywhere.
There might be some people you know, there might be some new people you've never seen before, they might all be Mandalorian. Is that good?
Yeah, that's interesting. Like, even a little bit, I'm sitting here going like, what is she talking about? But in a good way, like in a very good way. Like,
not like he has no idea what she's
No, of course not. No, you know it. I mean, it's fun to listen to someone evade.
Yeah, well, because you're so good at it.
Usually I'm evading,
yeah, exactly.
so it's a
you have it down to a science.
It's very fun.
I think Sabine sort of is in a new place this season. You know, over this last season 3, we saw her sort of step into her own in a way we hadn't seen her before. I mean, we always knew she was super capable, super, you know, just this like epitome of this Mandalorian warrior who happens to also be this incredibly creative artist. That I don't think we'd seen that kind of a dichotomy before. So she's like this very complex young woman who is wise beyond her years, but she was still a young lady, and I feel like she had her own insecurities, you know, trust issues and things like that. And I feel like over this past season, we've seen her grow, whether she would like to admit it or not, grow and mature into this really, really mature, capable person, adult. And I think she's gotten over, you know, beyond those issues with this family. And now she's got all these other issues with her other family. And we'll get to explore some of those in season 4.
That was great. Well done. Well done.
I'm looking at Freddie and Vanessa going, look how proud you both look. You're like...
Our little girl has grown up.
Oh my gosh, it is. It's like interviewing a family here. This is amazing.
It feels like a family.
We are, yeah, on and off screen.
That's amazing. Well, there's so many just really incredible story arcs with these characters and character arcs, not just Sabine, but I'm also really excited to see where Kanan goes in season 4. Look at that picture. Growing your hair out a little, you know. Now, what can you tell us about Kanan in season 4? You went through a huge transition period. Yeah, Freddie.
Well, he's still blind. You know, I'd love to back up to Trials of the Darksaber for a moment, because that sort of defined for me a lot of who Kanan was and who he needs to be. Most of the time when you guys watch the show, he's like that cool uncle that everyone has that like took you out shooting maybe and didn't tell your parents, or let you have a sip of beer, or taught you how to fight, or taught you how to kiss a girl, and like that's who Kanan was. And to make a flip from that guy to the disciplinarian with Tia is huge, because he didn't believe in her based on her behavior and her frustration. And to be patient as a parent is a skill. It's something that you work on and get better at. So for him to be like, you see him on his knees waiting, when she comes back, he's hurting as much as she is, and he's learning as much as she is at the exact same time. That fight that they had, my favorite fight ever out of Star Wars movie, animated, anything, was Pre Vizsla versus Darth Maul, because it was the applaud yourselves for loving it. It was a perfect match of like sort of technology versus discipline, right? And the discipline had to take the technology apart piece by piece in order to finally overcome it. Congratulations, Sam. Congratulations, Dave, for killing Jon Favreau. You jerks. But this was a very similar thing where he has to get Tia's character to remove everything that makes her her in order to become who she needs to be, and it's the same lesson he needs to learn. I'm not sure he knew he was teaching it to himself, but he was. So I got to see this movie. I'll share a little story with you. My family was fortunate enough to spend the holidays at Skywalker Ranch, and we got to see this particular episode on the massive screen with the Emperor's statues on either side. I'm very spoiled and very appreciative. And it wasn't pride that I felt, that you said you look like proud parents, because I'm not like that with Tia. It's much more of a brother-sister thing. I was so impressed that while I was walking back from the theater to the little cottage we were staying at, it was like 10 o'clock at night, I don't know if you remember this, but I literally recorded a video and I specifically said, I'm starting this video by saying I'm not proud of you because I'm not your father. I'm so impressed by what you, Kevin Kilner, music, who did Sabine's theme, which is phenomenal, and Dave. Because music is just as important as the performance. It dictates sometimes to an experienced actor how much they're going to give in a certain moment based on how powerful the music's going to be behind that. Ask Andy Garcia. So when you have all those things come together, that episode for me defined who Kanan is going to become in season 4. Season 4, like I said, he's still blind, but he sees more than he has ever seen before. He knows what path these rebels need to be on. It takes him some time to figure it out, but once he finds out, it is a certainty that you have seen in other Jedi before, and you will recognize it as a historical moment in this character's development and growth. And I wish you didn't have to wait till the fall, because it was season 4. The stuff that Kanan goes through is very adult, but Star Wars has always been adult, even for kids, and it teaches real lessons. And the good guys don't always win, and sometimes people you love, like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's supposed to be there forever. If you haven't seen Star Wars yet, I'm about to spoil something huge for you. That moment for me as a kid was what locked me into Star Wars, because it seemed real. Because Superman always won, and he was always cool and groovy, and Obi-Wan got. And that made me hate Darth Vader for 3 movies. So, you know, when you see a Jedi with clarity, I think you sort of, you get a sense of belonging to that person, because you've seen them struggle. You've seen Kanan struggle for so many years to be a decent Jedi. But his mistakes, I think, are what made me fall in love with him, and I hope his faults are what make you guys fall in love with him too.
Amazing. Amazing. That was so inspiring. Thank you for that. Actually, if you don't mind, I have a follow-up question. I'm curious to know, through all the things that you learned in season 3, and this is really a question for both you and Taylor, does it change the way you view how Ezra's training went, and where do we, what can we say about Ezra's growth in season 4? In terms of your opinion about
Taylor can talk about Ezra's growth, but I mean, Kanan's already had a couple moments where he's literally been completely honest and truthful, says, I don't know what else I can teach you, bro. I think you might be better than me. Like, my strength, I know where my strength levels are, and I know the potential of yours, and I don't know what else I can do. And to Ezra's credit, and to the development of that character, he sort of steps out of the Jedi-Padawan relationship and says, I'm not talking about the Force, I'm talking about life, I'm talking about family. I have so much more to learn from you. So in that regard, he's still a young man. He will still deal with issues of anger the way a young man will deal with them, but he has a good teacher. One that even when he doubts himself, the great Ahsoka Tano believed in him in season 2. So there has to be this measure of faith between the two. You know, that's sort of how these relationships stay strong, is faith. And it's guys like the Emperor with Anakin that try to put a crack in that faith, and that's sort of that first treacherous step. And you saw Maul do it in season 2 with Ezra to various degrees of success. And season 4, I'm sure will be no different, minus our favorite Sith. Makes me more sad than you guys. He's my friend.
Darth Maul, rest in peace. Well, let me follow up with you then, Taylor. I mean, you had some close moments there, brushes with the dark side, and you're having to forge your own path. Are we really going to see Ezra kind of come into his own in season 4? What should we be looking forward to with Ezra?
Yeah, we've seen him grow up. He's seen the good and the bad, and we saw earlier in season 2, he kind of toyed with the dark side, and he's learning how to become a Jedi. And now season 4 is really a thing of deciding what kind of Jedi and even transcending that, what kind of person he wants to be as he grows up, having seen everything, and he realizes as he stepped away from Lothal and joined this family and become dependent on them and learned what he can. It's now time to go back and see what he can do for his people. And I'm now getting nervous because Dave is shooting daggers over here, but I think that's okay. And yeah, it's great because we're seeing the story of someone coming of age, a kid growing up through having these innate abilities that he's not sure of, and learning how to be selfless as a person. And I think he makes some great decisions through season 4. Yeah, Dave? Cool.
Yeah, man, you did great. You're all like, we're, so many years in. Well, I'm just impressed listening to you guys. I mean, I think in the early days I was up here and I'd have to talk a lot. And I like listening to you guys. It makes me, I am impressed.
You just like hearing if we retained what you taught, or
I do. I really do. I really do. Well, in all honesty, and why I like that is because it's a responsibility of mine that you learn Star Wars the correct way, because I sure learned it from George. So it makes me very proud.
I think we finally established that proper balance of fear and respect for you. So.
All right. Well, the fear is the hat. The respect is hopefully the direction.
Fear the hat. Yes.
Well, it's great hearing about all these characters and what we can look forward to. One of the things about season 3 that I love that I hope continues in season 4 is we got to see a lot of familiar Star Wars characters come in as guest roles. Can we look forward to any more characters that we're familiar with Star Wars in season 4?
Oh yeah, we'll bring in Genevieve back playing Mon Mothma. Yeah. Great time working with her. She's just thrilled to be a part of this as well. And I told her when we worked together, I said, you've done an almost impossible thing. You've made this seamless character between the Mon Mothma and Return of the Jedi and yours. Like, it's so impressive, from her facial reactions to things, her vocal performance, and in Rebels, what's fun is in season 4, we wanted to play a little more with Mon Mothma and say, well, how haven't you seen her? She's pretty level most of the time. And I think what's fun when she's in the Ghost with Hera is they're having more of a conversation, a personal conversation, which I think was really fun for the two of them. And you might see Mon Mothma get a little fiery for once. She's a leader for a reason.
That is quite a scowl there in that still.
Yeah. She's a fun character.
Any others that we can look forward to? Maybe some returns from certain characters in previous seasons, or
we're gonna bring back Forrest.
Yeah.
And we brought his co-pilot. You see little two tubes, just a little bit. You can see him on the side there. So now that the movie's out, see, I can have a little more fun. There's no spoilers anymore. So they're sitting in a U-wing. So you'll see those also in
very cool. Very cool.
It's fun. Forrest is great. He's a huge Star Wars fan, and I think he also has done a great job of bridging, from the Clone Wars saw to what he did in the film performance and then with us. And it's fun for me because we could really kind of bridge the gap between his character arc in that movie and what I did in Clone Wars. And we did a little of that already in season 3 of Rebels, and then we'll do a little more. We push him a little farther in this season, so you start to see that character that you saw in the movie. So everything gets a little closer, kind of the Rogue One aesthetic, which really is a New Hope rebellion, looking a little more drab and stuff is what will come through, I think, in the art style that we use in Yavin Base and stuff like that, which we recreated for Star Wars Rebels as well.
I like this plan. I like this plan. So, we talked about Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera. Any other characters? Well, I didn't know we could take requests.
This will come out of nowhere. Yeah, oh, that's a good idea. That's good. I got tricked at Celebration London. Someone did ask to play a character. And it's someone that asked me to play a character for a long time back on Clone Wars. And I said, oh yes, I'd love to cast you when I get the right role. And then the show ended, and I didn't get to cast this person. And time moved on, and I'd forgotten. And then they reminded me in front of an audience just like this. And I didn't even understand what was going on until it was too late. And so I had him audition for me in front of everyone, and I had him do an amazing Sam Witwer performance. And he nailed it. And of course, I'm talking about Warwick. And so Warwick is going to be coming on to Star Wars Rebels.
I think we have a clip. We have a clip, actually. Just to refresh your memory, this is how it went down last year.
I've actually tried pretty hard to bring a lot of the Clone Wars voice actors back, and I've figured out ways creatively to do it a lot of the time.
I don't think you should keep recycling old actors, though. Just bring in some new blood. What are you doing that for? There's loads more fish in the sea.
Tom Baker was kind enough to come in and do a voice for us. He is absolutely fantastic.
He's got a great voice, hasn't he?
He's got an amazing voice.
So you haven't known Tom that long?
No.
Really? So you've known me longer than Tom?
Yes.
How come he does a voice before
I knew it was going there! We've talked about it over the years. I would love to
We
get
always
you in
talk
there.
about it.
It's going to happen. You know this guy, Whitwer, he does a great mall. So if you do it like that...
Very soon, my apprentice. Very soon.
Uh-oh. It'd be great to pick some new characters and perhaps cast some new people in those roles. I don't know why that striking is a good idea lately, but that might be a good idea.
Good answer. Good answer. This is very exciting, you know. It's very exciting to come out here and be part of this panel amongst all of you guys. I mean, I'm the new kid on the block, but it's very exciting.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry what I did to you in London there,
No,
Dave.
you're not. Not a bit. No, you're not. Not a bit.
You know what, years ago, Dave talked about the Clone Wars there as well, and years ago at Star Wars Weekends, I had the pleasure of interviewing Dave at that event, and during the course of our interview I said, you know, I do a few voices and stuff, and he was like, oh yeah, and I created a little reel of highlights from the Clone Wars and voiced all of the characters for him and played it. It didn't make any difference at the time. So yeah, London was my second attempt at getting in there, and finally he
I
woke
was
up.
still so oblivious. It took me so long to figure out what you were getting at. It's no wonder.
You walked right into...
I did.
For the record, it was very clear to everybody else.
I'm really focused on the show, Tia. I'm focused on the show. So we're going to say who you're playing, which is really exciting. And we're going to show you what he looks like, because this character has never appeared on screen before in Star Wars. Which is exciting.
But people know of him, don't they?
People know of the character, though. This is Rook.
Audrey in the house!
He is, in Heir to the Empire, he's Thrawn's assassin bodyguard. Very, very difficult design to do. Killian and the team, I think, did a great job. He's really creepy, so I needed someone creepy to play him. And someone sneaky and devious like you, I thought would do a great job. And I always told you, I wanted to catch you, but I have to have something that I think is interesting and good and fun, and a character that's different. And I also learned that I think that Lars Mikkelsen is the only person that can say this name correctly because of the H. He says like Rook. He says it in this really awesome way when you hear it in the show, Rook. I don't know, Tim was trying to explain to us how it's said on the phone, and I always call him Rook, but that's like too much of a Rook thing. I don't know, it just goes round and round in my head, but...
It's Hebrew, isn't it?
Is it?
In the you gotta get the
I don't know, man. You tell me, but it's fun.
I can say it was brilliant fun. You said I look a bit creepy, the character does. He does look creepy. But if you want to see creepy, right, because of the time difference, I record in London, Dave is back in San Francisco, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning. When I see him down the kind of the Skype connection, that's creepy. At that time in the morning.
It's early.
And you complain about getting up and coming in early to work to record with me, don't you?
It's so early for me, but you're so worth it. I just get up bright and early for you and then think, oh, I'm gonna go see work today. Nothing makes that hour commute fly by faster than seeing him there and having him be all creepy over Skype. I love that you're on your end going, Dave looks kind of creepy in the morning, and I'm like, well, we're going kind of creepy in the evening. That's our relationship. It's so good. No, I've never had so much fun when I did Star Wars Weekends with work. You made obviously a huge impression. Your talent, your humor, everything that you bring, and of course, I don't care what any Star Wars fan says about Ewoks. I loved Ewoks when I was a kid, and you all did too. You all did. You all did. I drove my mom nuts looking for a Wicket. That little tiny piece of plastic. I was like, Mom, we have to get the Wicket. So I loved it, and I think you do a fantastic job with Rook. I'm excited to have him as part of the show.
Thank you, Dave. It's a pleasure to be part of this cast.
Welcome to the cast of Star Wars Rebels. Warwick Davis, everybody.
Thank you very much.
So, I mean, we've been so lucky to come out and show all of this stuff to the fans, and as fans, we're so lucky to get to see this. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I mean, I see so much passion for Star Wars Rebels. We were just talking backstage about how 10 years ago, Lucasfilm Animation, when we started doing these panels at Celebration, was such a tiny room. And now look at all of you here, and all of you watching in the other rooms. It's such a testament to the incredible work that you all do.
Yeah, of course. And I gotta say that it's a special thing, and I love obviously all the cosplay that you guys do, and it's a big commitment on your part. And Simon Kinberg from the beginning, when we talked about Star Wars Rebels, he always said this is a show about family. That's the core of it. That really struck with me because that's what George has always said, the Skywalker saga. So we've all had a kind of interesting experience with family on this show, not just us, but with a certain group of fans. So I want to bring them out here right now. If I could bring out the Perales family, my left, right here. These guys have actually been cosplaying Rebels since before Rebels was on. Let's come on right here. When they started, you can see in the picture, Axel, look how tiny he is, it's Ezra and Lizzie, and they've grown, and they didn't know the character dynamics of things, so originally she was playing Hera, and Mom was playing Sabine, and then they got a sense of like, well, maybe we should switch that later, and then that worked out better for Mom and Dad, and I've just, every time, I'm just saying, just saying, every time that we would go to a convention or something, they're always there, and they always adapt the costumes. I always felt the most for Sabine because I keep changing that one the most. And but they've really kind of symbolized this experience for me about family and seeing all your families come to things like Star Wars Celebration, and then to see them here grow and change with the show. I really appreciate it. I know it takes a lot of time to do all of this. Thank you for doing it and being a great part of it. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
Round of applause for the Perales family.
So, this will be interesting. So, I've never done this before, ever. This is a different kind of announcement. And I think you understand where I'm coming from. But seeing the evolution here of this family and these kids, and I watch them get older. And as a creator of a story, I think about these things. I think about where are we going? What do the characters need to go through? So this is where I have to tell you, it's my decision as the creator of this show with Simon, that season 4 is the final season of Star Wars Rebels. I know, but I firmly believe that each generation needs to have their own piece of Star Wars, you know, and I feel that this show, for a lot of kids growing up with it, is very much as much a part of Star Wars as any of the movies, and I really appreciate that love from you guys. And I feel creatively that I can make this story about these characters the most meaningful that it can be by arcing it to where I need to get to at the end of this season. So I know that's tough, it's tough for me, but believe me, I can say I know what it's like when I don't get to end a series. What happens when you don't end a series is you end up making T-shirts, and you have to prolong, and it wasn't as fun. So, you know, believe me, this show represents by no means an end to anything that we're doing in animation. Of course, and I appreciate that question, but for now, what I'd love for you guys to do is focus on what these guys have done, the beautiful work they've done in season 4. It's hard for them to
It's like, oh.
What's next?
I know. It's natural. But
I'm not even going to beg you anymore.
we've done something really special here. I'm really proud of these characters. You guys have performed them brilliantly all the way to whatever end they have. I think it's one of the best things the animation division's ever done. The way this arc continues and grows. So you'll see in season 4, it's not like anything else that we've ever done. It's different. You're welcome, my man. It's gonna be different, a little dark, a little fun. And why don't we get a look at some of it right now?
About a boy who was lost and a girl who was broken. They fought alongside a survivor, a war veteran, and a fallen knight. I led them into battle. It was so terrible. I tried to blow out the stars. They fought for each other. We fought for those who could not. We never imagined be with you.